Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sebastian. Welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And folks, y'all already knew it was going to be a matter of time, and then we're going to get here. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So as y'all know, Luka Doncic has been getting roasted and toasted. Now, I finally started ripping into Luka because of his constant complaining and his style of play and the fact that JJ Redick continues to allow it, and also because JJ has refused to bench LeBron James. So that's kind of been my general gripe. But I noticed something. After that game where the Lakers lost to the Orlando Magic, where Luka passed up the three to give the ball to LeBron, who was asking for the ball, by the way, the media all of a sudden on one accord started going after Luka. It was almost like as if a memo came down from the sky and said, we're going to diss Luka today. And everybody's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Literally, that's what happened. So everyone has been critical of him. And then I came across an article here from Awful Announcing stating the following. NBA media is turning on Luka Doncic. I said, interesting. Let's continue onward. After previously believing Luka Doncic was destined to get the Los Angeles Lakers back to a championship level, NBA media is no longer buying what they're selling just a year ago. When the Lakers stunned the NBA by acquiring Doncic for Anthony Davis at the trade deadline last season, it was viewed as a historic trade and a historic fleecing of the Dallas Mavericks. A 25-year-old superstar with the talent and potential to break into the NBA's Mount Rushmore, Doncic was already being treated like the next great player to grab the baton in Laker history. And remember everyone fawning over Doncic recommitting himself to losing weight and getting fit last summer. Fast forward a year, Doncic is averaging 32 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists per game. The Lakers are more than 10 games over 500, but the media seems ready to concede they overvalued him. In the wake of LeBron's close friend Chris Paul saying he wouldn't hesitate to pick SGA over Doncic, it seemingly opened the door for media members to jump off Luka's bandwagon. Chris Broussard weighed in on Paul's take this week, echoing the sentiment by claiming we're going to actually play what he claimed instead of reading it. Take a listen to what Chris Broussard and Nick Wright had to say here about Luka Doncic on First Things First.
Are you flirting with the idea that SGA might have more titles in his future and Luka might not?
Oh, yeah. And again, this is not a slight on Luka. Luka is phenomenal, and he's clearly already a Hall of Famer. But I think, Nick, it's on the table that Luka never wins a championship. I'm not predicting that. This is not Chris Broussard saying Luka's never going to win a ring. No. But it is a year ago, I would have said there's no way he's not getting a championship in his career. I think it's possible that he doesn't now, because you and I have talked about this off the air. San Antonio's only going to get better. OKC's probably just going to keep getting better. And that's not to mention growth among other teams. And Luka, he's in good shape this year. Maybe he's going to have to get in better shape, because as he's getting older, I think it's just going to be challenging for him to win.
So here's why listen, I think they are super behind the 8 ball. From an organizational standpoint. You guys know I'm probably, of the three of us, the most down on the Lakers management and infrastructure, and I think it's going to take some time. Like the gap between Presti and Pelinka and Linda Rambis and the Lakers Brain Trust is pretty massive, and so I think that's going to take some working to do by the Walters Group. But here's why, KW, I have a hard time swallowing that. I think and this is your favorite part of the show, when I mention Elgin Baylor.
Of course.
I think you really have to go back to Elgin Baylor to find an all-time great player who did not drop off at all in the playoffs, who never got a ring. Like, usually, like guys like Harden, Karl Malone, even Barkley to a degree, they weren't consistently quite as good in the postseason as they were in the regular season. The guys who are this caliber of player, who are consistently in the mix, peel one, even if it's the Dirk path where it looks like, man, they're never going to get one, and then bam, they do. So it would just be there's not really a precedent for a guy who is this good statistically in the regular season, seemingly gets better in the playoffs, had early playoff success with the conference finals and the finals appearance under his belt in his first 5 years of his career. That guy's never going to win a championship. I think they're behind OKC and San Antonio, in the short term and long term, it feels. But it doesn't mean that you can't ever have a year where you get past them.
I buy that. At the same time, if we went back to that other graphic, you don't have to pull it up, Hubs. But this year's a wash, so this year's done.
This is now, what is this year for him? Year 8? Year 7? Year 7 or 8?
2018 draft. So this is year 8, right? Yeah.
Okay, so this will be year 8, and this is a wash. Let's just, for fun, we don't think it's happening next year. And then if I was like, hey, rattle off some guys that you could see getting championships in the next 5 years, you could bang, bang, bang. You're like, I could see the Celtics getting one. I could see the Pistons getting one. And like all of a sudden you're like,
OKC, San Antonio, Denver.
Houston, Denver gets one. Wherever Giannis ends up, if Giannis goes somewhere, and then all of a sudden you're like, are we up around year 11 or 12 for Luka?
Here's
and
the
then
other thing. Here's the other thing, Nick.
Go ahead.
And again, a lot of my issue is with Luka's playing style. And I'm not the first to say this. For years, people have been saying he's Harden, he's James Harden, he does the same thing. And I've said, no, he's different. But we haven't seen a one-man show win a championship. Wilt Chamberlain's 2 years he won the championship, he didn't lead the league in scoring. His scoring dropped, his usage dropped. Jordan, when he was averaging 35 and 37 a game, he didn't win the championship. Yep. LeBron in Cleveland, one-man show, didn't win the championship. Harden hasn't been able to do it. We haven't seen anybody do. Oscar Robertson, he was a one-man show in Cincinnati. He didn't win the championship there. So I just think this style of play, and is Luka capable of playing a little differently? A little differently. Just give me some action when you don't have the ball in your hands. Give me a little more effort defensively. He has to be ball dominant, and that one or two man teams where one or two guy creates everything for everybody generally get beat by 5-man teams when the talent is close. And I think that's the challenge.
History backs you up on that, obviously. That's a really fair point. And the history 100% backs you up. The question is, would Harden have done it if you got regular season Harden in the playoffs? Would they have won, even with his style? Because what hurts Harden in the playoffs isn't just his style; it's that he's no longer James Harden. Right. And so that's Luke is kind of the test case for that.
So you heard what they had to say. It didn't stop there. Colin Cowherd also weighed in. We did a show about it yesterday where he said he believes that Luka is not going to be able to win a championship in LA. The article then continues on. Zach Lowe joined in on calling Doncic out, claiming he's unwatchable because of how he whines at officials, which in Lowe's defense is borderline true. Unwatchable might be extreme, but Doncic's incessantly complaining to the referees is certainly frustrating to watch, and this is coming from a fan who regularly watches Karl Anthony Towns, right? And then you have Zach Lowe, who's now, I believe, with Bill Simmons and those guys over there. And it's just been one thing after the other. And me, myself, I'm not putting myself on those guys' level, but you understand what I'm saying. And me, myself, I have been extremely critical of Luka Doncic. Look, guys, let's cut to the chase here. A lot of things have happened. The fact of the matter is, when the season started with Luka and Reeves, the team looked good. Right, they were the number 2 seed, playing very well, and we now have the data that shows that Luka and Reeves is the best combination. Any other combination that involves LeBron, the team is a losing team, right? And people weren't as critical of the Lakers and Luka as they are now. But here's the reality of the situation. Yes, it was true that the Lakers were playing better with Luka and Reeves, but we have to look at it from a macro standpoint. Luka does complain too much. Right? He whines a little bit too much for my liking. Number 2, I don't like the style of his basketball play because I think Luka seeks too many fouls, and Luka doesn't score to finish. He scores to foul to get fouls. And after a while, that gets disgusting because he slows down the game, and then you're just watching a free throw contest, which is boring. Luka has found a way to not get back on defense by constantly complaining. That's not inspiring to watch. And I think it sets a poor precedent for leadership, because if other players see their star players unwilling to show any effort at all on the other side of the ball, it's just not going to look good. And after a while, they're going to be frustrated, and you better make every single shot if we're picking up all the defensive slack for you here. I said something yesterday or the day before that. I said I wouldn't be surprised if Luka gets traded from the Lakers within the next 2 to 3 years. Some people thought, oh my God, how could you say that? Don't look. And I said as well, if I had an opportunity to swap out Anthony Edwards for Luka Doncic, I would. Ant-Man is not the playmaker that Luka is, but he can score. He plays defense, and he has the motor. Right? Luka needs to really figure it out, but I think we won't really get a good sense of what's going on until LeBron leaves. But you can see how the entire machine is beginning to kick in. And it all really started when LeBron blew that game winner. Then all of a sudden, all the attention started to descend upon Luka Doncic. Is it a coincidence? Hell no, it's not. It's just business as usual with these people. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments. When we catch you on the next show, and I'm out. Peace.